What is happening? Welcome to the Nick and Alex Baseball Show, which can also be described, I guess, as that ridiculous hour that involves baseball, I guess. I'm Nick Pollack, and I'm joined by the vindicated Alex Fast. How you doing,
It
Alex?
feels pretty good. Been looking forward to this all week. Obviously saw the tweet that you sent out, and
Yeah.
that was kind of nice. That kind of started to make me feel a little bit better. But I don't know. Do you really want to dive into this right now about why I'm
Well,
feeling
I mean,
so vindicated?
we're gonna go into it a little bit. I like the girl dad shirt, by the way.
Thank you very
Looking
much.
wonderful. Zelda, from my understanding, is just wonderful and incredible.
She's been
And
on fire recently. She's been
yeah.
cutest baby of the year award
Oh,
stuff.
wow. Wow,
Great.
Fast. Okay. All right. But before we begin with everything, we have a lot of stuff we want to talk about today. You'll see all of it. Thank you so much for watching live right now on twitch.tv/pitchers, or actually on Twitter. We're pushing this off to Twitter right now, but we'll see all the comments you post on Twitch right here. So make sure you go and do that if you're listening later this week. But go and rate and review us on iTunes. It goes a long way for us. Leave a review, all that stuff. We'll read them here on the podcast moving forward. And before we do anything Fast, well, we got another pitcher this week, and I'm very curious
Yeah.
if you know who this is. This pitcher has a 7-5 record and has pitched about 83 innings this year. 3.81 ERA, 109 WHIP, 26% strikeout rate, 6.5% walk rate, about 30% CSW. Has a fastball around 94 and a swing strike rate of 15%. Good for 13th in the majors as starting pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea of who this is, Fast?
I'm
This
trying to think
I
about.
did a tough one today.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about high strikeout guys who
Yeah.
have been getting hit hard a little bit.
Mm. Yeah,
94,
hard
90.
hard contact was 25.4%, good for 61st among all starting pitchers in the majors.
And no ground balls, so lots of balls in the air, it seems.
Yeah, 159th in ground ball rate at 38% for this mystery pitcher. And so keep that in mind. We'll be revealing who that is at the end of the show. But this is a tough one.
Yeah.
This isn't, obviously they've had a good year, but they're not, they're not like a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
So we'll figure that one out. I have things I have to say, but I'm going to save that Fast for your thing of the week.
Mm.
What is it for you?
My thing of the week. There's a lot of things that I could have gone with, but I've been thinking a lot about the All-Star game,
Uh-huh.
and I think we kind of hit on this a little bit a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I care about it, and I don't know, and I think it's a little bit boring, and I think that we've kind of gotten away from I think it's a nice thing what they've done with our pool host and Miguel Cabrera, but I also kind of recognize the fact that that's not what we're really kind of trying to see right now. You know what I mean? We're trying to see the best of the best, and them getting a spot, but other guys who we're going to talk about later and our biggest all-star snubs not getting spots just kind of rubs me the wrong way. And it also just feels a little bland. It feels a little boring. It feels ways that we could really spice it up that we haven't really done. And also is being an all-star, I understand it's good, but is it important? Is it important? Is it an
Oh,
important thing?
interesting.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
okay. So a couple things here. One, why you have to bring Kyle Bland, our director of research analytics, into this, I don't know. That he's catching strays, and that's just not fair. He's wonderful. Second, I understand what you're talking about. But when I was a kid, the All-Star game was everything. Oh
Mhm.
man, I loved the All-Star game. Seeing all these players. I think we have a certain perception of it now where we can access a lot more information. We can see the guys differently now. We can go on MLB.tv. We can actually watch that game of the Angels on the West Coast, right? I
Mhm.
couldn't when I was in the late 90s. My way of watching these star players that I knew of, watching Griffey or something, I couldn't just turn on the TV and watch Griffey. I had to catch that one random highlight on
Sure.
ESPN or something to see it. And this was a game where all of them were there. There they were. It was so exciting. I watched all of the home run derby. I remember Jay Buhner cursing on the hot mic,
Mhm.
and mentioning it to my friend in summer camp. And I was like, oh my God, he cursed. It was incredible. I never heard before. And it was such an exciting moment. Pedro Martinez striking out Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, and making Sosa's back break. The whole thing. It was so much fun to see these battle of the giants. And I am with you that it feels a little bit less right now. And I do wonder if it's so accessible that we're a little bit numb or callous to the effect that it has. But man, it's a fun thing. It can spark a lot of great moments. A lot of I think there's a lot of emphasis also on players surviving the season and
Yeah,
exerting themselves and injuries, and we feel like there's this unnecessary game where they could get hurt. And I don't know, it feels
I'm gonna
it stinks that
say
we think about that stuff, but that is a part of the whole factor. Instead, we just let the kids play. We want this to be like a really fun Sandlot kind of game, and I hope we can get that.
it's the second to of the four major ones. It's
I
the
mean, everyone cares
second
about yeah.
worst,
Okay.
It's the second most boring All-Star week.
I mean, okay, Pro Bowl.
That's the worst.
Yeah,
That's the worst.
okay. All
That's the
right.
worst. But even they have like a skills competition that they're starting to embrace a little bit.
Yeah,
But
we got to do that. I would love that.
I would say if the weekend is home run derby and All-Star game, it's better than the NFL. That's the worst. I would
And
say
there's also the futures
basketball.
game. Don't forget the futures game is really fun.
Don't forget the futures game. Sorry, I'm just like every other person in America.
Fast.
Forgets the
Fast.
futures game.
Come on, Fast.
Yeah.
That's so. For everything that we do about baseball, you can't be the one that says I hate the futures game.
I don't hate the futures game. I'm saying nobody cares about the futures game.
I went to it. It was a lot of fun.
As someone who has been to multiple All-Star games now, they are practically begging people to sit in the stands at that game. It's almost like the celebrity softball game has a bigger attendance. It just feels like no one cares about it when they're there.
Oh man. I went to that's the same day as the futures game and the celebrity softball game. The celebrity softball game, you can't hear me roll my eyes, but you can hear me roll my eyes,
And I'm not saying
And
dunk. Like, I wish it was better. I wish people cared about it. Like, that's one of the biggest problems. But like, I mean, listen, we both have common ground, and like, give us that fantastic KBO bunt competition where they're aiming.
I mean, that's really fun. I would love a target practice one, trying to throw from afar, that kind of thing. I would love to be like a curveball competition where you have to make it curve into something like, like put them through hoops and stuff like that. I think it'd be really fun.
Do a fastball tic-tac-toe. That's like do a fastball anything where it's like it's not even about the velocity. Like just do it. Anything. There's so many ways to spice the game up. It's just, and they don't do it, so I'm bored of it.
You think
what about you?
You think the All-Star game is bland?
Yeah.
Man. I mean, I understand. Home Run Derby has been really fun to watch the past couple of years, and we'll talk about that later.
Great.
Yeah.
Got no qualms there. But it's
no qualms.
No one wants to do it anymore.
Because of the curse. Then there's P. Alonso who's just like, I'm just going to keep winning and make what, $100,000 or whatever it is, or $1 million, or what? I don't know what the price is.
I'll win $1 million. Soto literally was like, I'm just going to try and I want to hit the farthest pulled home run. So he's out in the first round because he's not going to. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Pete Alonso, I will for his credit, like it's stamina, to win that thing. It's like you gotta. It takes a lot out of you doing those. And your arms and your whole body feels sore as like it slows down by the end. And Pete Alonso's shown that he's got what it takes. But we'll talk about that later on. Again, sorry for the tease. I got something for you fast.
Shoot.
Here you go. I don't know if you can see that.
Say you can spell win.
You can spell win with Tillman. All right. I did that just for you because here I sat a week ago. I sat right here, as you said, the most surprising team in the first half were the Baltimore Orioles, and I said, "Come on," and I thought, really, honestly, it was how can we be excited about mediocrity? Because by the definition, that is what the Orioles are, absolutely middling to the point that they're just under a game below 500.
Sure.
But here they go, as if they heard me, and you're welcome, as they go on an 8-game winning streak now. I mean, literally, they've won 7 games since I've said, no, you're not allowed to be surprised by the Orioles.
Okay.
So you're welcome. And you know what? Now I am surprised. I am so surprised that they were able to have an 8-game winning streak. I'm so surprised that they're almost 500. And I just want to say I'm happy for you, all of Baltimore. Enjoy your moment out of the bottom of the barrel. Just the mid barrel, the torso of the barrel. It's a lovely place, and it gets more love than the feet. So, congrats. I take back all that I said. I was wrong. Adley Rutschman on a 4-WAR pace for a year, but 41 games and a 1.1 WAR right now. You'll love to see it. It's exciting. Someone even suggested that Adley Rutschman is making the pitching staff better, which I don't know if I disagree with. Seeing his excitement as he runs off to hug Jorge Lopez for another win, it made my day. It made it. Good job, Adley. So yeah, congrats, Fast. I'm happy you have this. I hope it lasts. And that's what I'll say.
There's a chance that we could be 500 tonight. And it's funny because it's like, as you said, well, first of all, accept your apology.
Thank you. We got past this one,
Yeah,
so worried.
That's been our biggest fight ever. It's funny, and there's a few things. One, obviously, Baltimore Orioles Twitter has been ablaze these past couple of days with all this excitement, and I have to say, I've seen more encouraging comments, and we're talking about Twitter here. I've seen more encouraging comments than I have negative. And it is funny because you're right. We're under 500. And yes, we're a game and a half, 2 games and a half out of the wild card. But we're under 500 and we're still celebrating. And no one has been like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Everyone's been like, wow, good for you. I'm happy to see that the Orioles are doing well. It's great to see that organization succeed. So that's been great. Not to put a dampener on all of this, I still think they should sell.
I know, and I saw your tweet about Trey Mancini.
Yeah.
And I mean, I talked about this before with the Yankees in 2015 or 16 rather, that they went on that selling escapade, sellscapade, of course. And as a Yankee fan, I wanted them to lose games in July. I knew that we weren't going to go on a World Series run. So I wanted us to actually make the investments for future years. And yeah, they didn't win a World Series, but still had those, a much better team, 17, 18, 19, and so on, because of those deals they made. And I think if you are a Baltimore Oriole fan, you should want the same thing for your team too. And it seems weird to be like, oh, let's just sell and invest in the future. But honestly, I mean, sure, Atlanta won the World Series last year. We didn't really think of them as a major contender. We saw the Cardinals win with an 83 win record. We saw the Royals win, of course, from the wild card, so on and so forth. Still, I think if you are the Baltimore Orioles, you have to be rational that, yes, you do have more than a 1% playoff chance now. It's like, what, 4 or something? Maybe 5?
Yeah.
But that's still 1 out of 20. You're rolling a D20 hoping you get a nat 20. Otherwise, you fail the check. So you should probably sell and be happy that you have something better for next year.
Now, it's funny that you bring up next year and you bring up the future, because it looks like we're about to have a really, really exciting guest who's about to join us. So if you're going to talk about the draft, which is coming up next week, you should probably do it with one of the best minds really in the business, a guy who's been working in baseball for decades now, both behind the scenes and front offices as well. He's been working for Fangraphs, for ESPN. You also may know him from the incredibly insightful book he released in 2020 with Eric Longenhagen, titled Future Value: The Battle for Baseball's Soul and How Teams Will Find the Next Superstar. I read a lot. I truly, no smoke, read a lot of baseball books. And this one was fantastic because it gives you everything that you want, the behind the scenes. It's just a fantastic book. You should pick it up. Here he is now, the one, the only, the inimitable Kiley McDaniel. Kiley, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's funny. There's I think we lucked out, Eric and I, having a book that's yellow, because whenever Passon's on, we can see behind him. I can see it's actually, it's over
there.
It's also propping up my computer. I got some paperbacks underneath. So yeah,
I
was like, they're everywhere behind me. My wife's trying to get me to get rid of them.
I seriously, I mean, I have read a lot of books. It is one of my top 3 favorite baseball books. It really just gives you such a fantastic perspective. You really feel like you're kind of in the room making these decisions, really getting a really unique glimpse into what is going into this absolutely crazy process. It's been awesome watching you on ESPN, getting the Sunday Night Baseball. You've been on a past couple times, but what we kind of wanted to talk to you about today is a few things. Obviously, the draft is coming up. You've got such a fantastic and unique insight coming into it. We were talking a little bit about the Orioles, so we should start there. They have the number 1 pick, and while logic would imply that they take Drew Jones, but aside from Adley, the Orioles have often eschewed what the logical pick is, right? They played a little bit of the draft game when it came to the cap space. Do you see them going for someone else aside Drew Jones, or are you thinking that they're going to do what they did with Adley and take who is theoretically the best player on the board?
So the relevant data points here would be Mike Elias ran the draft in Houston. They, I guess, very notably, I think, sort of started the trend of taking the cheapest guy that is top tier. When the way I've understood it, they deemed the Byron Buxton, Albert Almora, Carlos Correa, that whole draft. They said, oh, this whole top tier guys are all kind of the same. Let's shop around. Who's got the lowest number? It turned out Correa weirdly was either going to go first or sixth or seventh. So he offered the biggest discount because that's what the market sort of dictated. And so they took him. And I was told Max Fried was within a couple $100K of being the cheapest, or else he would have been the pick, which also would have been a pretty good pick, but not quite as good as Correa. And it was, I think, millions less than Buxton. And then those savings got Lance McCullers. So Correa McCullers was the correct answer to the question of that draft. And then with Baltimore, obviously, Rutschman and then Bobby Witt, but it was pretty clear Rutschman was the best player, and they took him and paid him and sort of did what you're supposed to, play it straight. The 2 years since then, took Heston Kjerstad, not the consensus best player for savings. Colton Cowser, probably not the consensus best player, but picking fifth, and took some savings there. And so that's sort of the backdrop of, I think, trying to read his mind is if he thinks the players are the same, he'll take the savings. If he thinks the player's better, he'll take the better player. It's, pretty simple that way. I would even say if it's close, he'll probably take the savings because they have the biggest draft pool. So having that extra weight to push around later, he may think it's very close, but is it $2 million close? Maybe it's $1 million close. We can cut two. We'll cut two with the guy we think is close. And that extra couple million down the board, that makes our second pick a lot better. Maybe certain guys that, the example in this draft would be Cade Horton and Noah Schultz. Cade Horton, the righty out of Oklahoma, that was really good down the stretch. Noah Schultz, high school lefty at Illinois. Those are the two guys whose numbers might be $4 million. And the reason sort of $4 million is an important number is not every team can afford that. And so if you're a team up top that cuts money, you may be uniquely able to afford those players and nobody else can. So you could, move them down to the 11th round or wherever you need to put them. Whereas a player asking for $2 million, basically every team can make room for a player that wants $2 million. You can't move them down the board. Everybody can pay that guy. And so that was what I've been writing about ESPN.com, which is, getting back to your question, if they go for savings at the first pick, save a couple $1 million, all that does is then say instead of being able to spend all their money by the fourth pick, now they're getting an extra fifth pick for $2 million. Everyone will have passed on that player 4 times. Is that player worth taking a lesser talent at 1? That's the problem they have to. Like, they now have so much money. Cutting money for the sake of cutting money, you need a $4 million guy to help solve that problem if you think they are. There's a gap between them. I think there's a gap between Drew Jones and Tamar Johnson. Those are my top 2. It sounds like that's Baltimore's top 2. But for reference, I slotted them into the just updated top 100. I have Drew Jones 24th and Tamar 30th. Like, they're still close. It's not that far apart. And it sounds like the savings might be $2 to $2.5 million if you take Tamar. And now I'm like, even I think Drew's the best guy, and I would think about it if that was the situation presented to me. And then also a chance at Cade Horton, which nobody else may have. Like, then you're like, okay, this is pretty defensible. If they take a college guy, I do not think it's defensible. If they take one of those 3 high school guys, Jackson Holiday being the other one, I think it's totally defensible.
Leave it to baseball, I should say, rather, to make something as seemingly rudimentary as the draft the most complex thing
I know.
ever do, right?
It's driving me crazy. Like, I just want this to be, oh, cool. Who's the best player on the board? Okay, you go and take him. All right, who's the next one? Who's the best fit for what we believe the future will be? Like, no. Honey,
and imagine going on like local radio in like, Cleveland or something, which is what I was just doing, and trying to explain that when they just sort of casually like, hey, who's going to win? I'll be like, all right, clear out, guys.
No.
We're on an ISO here. Explain why this is and, like the various like calculus that I'm putting out here. He was not ready for that answer. But at the end, he was like, "That was really good. Like if people could follow that," and I was just like, "Yeah, we trading picks. None of this would happen." But
it's so wild. Now, I mean, so then you have situations, of course, as I'm going to show the draft order for the first round to everybody watching on Twitch right now.
Come on.
You see at 11, the Mets are getting a compensation pick for Kumar Rocker from last year. I guess I have 2 questions for you. One, where do you think Rocker's going to go this year now? And 2, is there someone that is tenuous in the same way of, hey, maybe you guys want to risk this one, but maybe you'll have a situation like Rocker where there could be some question marks about health?
Yeah, sorry. I keep looking over here because I have my giant spreadsheet on my second monitor. I'm sure I'm not forgetting anything. I think what's going to happen at at 1. That's one giant question. The top tier of players is seen, 4 to 6. And so I think right around that pick 7 to 9 is where some wacky, like Frank Mazzucato for way under slot might happen. To me, that's the second sort of question if we're going sequentially. The third question will then be, where does Kumar Rocker go? Which obviously he went 10th for, I think it was 6th overall money, $6 million last year. He's now, I think, prospect status is diminished a bit for most teams now that he's 22, didn't pitch that much this year, and had a shoulder surgery. But it was a shoulder surgery where he returned and looked the same like 7 months later. So obviously not as bad as some other ones. So what Scott Boras like described as minor, like obviously the results suggest it was minor, but also he's 22 and had a shoulder. And I think the suspicion last year is that it was shoulder and elbow issues. We don't know if that's the case, and they didn't do anything to the elbow. And they didn't share imaging or MRI, so there's still a little bit of mystery, but he's also like pitching well right now. He looks like Vanderbilt him in shorter stints. So like I think he was essentially undraftable because there was so much unknown like 2 months ago. We didn't know anything about the update medically from the Mets thing.
Sure.
He had been on a mound. I had heard he'd been throwing bullpens. We didn't know anything. And so I think he was, like a 4th or 5th rounder, wherever you would take a guy that you knew nothing about. Now with all this new information, it's like, okay, well, how much worse is he than he was last year? Well, he's been pitching a lot this year. I think most teams that would take him would throw him in the bullpen in Double-A and try to get him to the big leagues and explore turning him into a starter the next year or, stretching him out or, whatever that looks like. With the only hurdle being when they get the rest of the medical information, assuming that all looks fine for like the level at which they're, bonus and all that kind of thing. That's the hurdle. And then I think him pitching in a Double-A bullpen and then going to the big leagues, I don't think anybody has any concerns about that.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, the long-term outlook may be a little bit different because the shoulder and maybe elbow, we'll see whatever that ends up being. And it might be bullpen now, but then, is it Chris Sale? Like it ends up becoming a starter and it's what it's supposed to be? Like that, it's on the table. Is it just, Jonathan Papelbon? It's always supposed to be a reliever. Maybe it might be that is Java Chamberlain. You think he's going to be really good? He's okay. Like there's all kinds of stuff that's on the table. And I think in terms of where he goes, it sounds like there's interest from 10 to 20. It sounds like teams are really thinking about it, 20 to 30. I assume somebody takes him by about 35 or 40, but I really don't have a great sense. And talking to people around him and people in rooms that are talking about it and like teams that are like, hey, we're going through the whole process. Like they don't know where he's going either. Like I think it's one of those things that'll really come together like Friday, Saturday into Sunday. Whereas a lot of other guys, I can tell you it's going to go here, here, or here. And he's not one of those guys.
So what I'm hearing here is that he should not be drafted by Cleveland because he's got to avoid the midges, and then his career will be over. So that's what I see. As long as that happens, we're good with Kumar Rocker.
It's Doctor Strange level. There's like 1.6 million different things, and there's one where the midges get him. We got
to. I am very excited for the Mets to take Kumar all over again because that is.
They would. That would be like the most Mets thing to do.
It would be just a wonderful, wonderful alternate reality that we'd be living in. I'm going to ask you what I think is probably the most difficult question you've had about the draft so far this year. I don't think anyone's asked you, and I've got a follow-up to it as well. But this is, I think, the most difficult question you're going to have about the draft all year. Will the Angels take a hitter?
So I've actually been asking a lot of people about this.
Oh my God!
Because everyone's interested in this topic, and when you talk to someone close to the Angels or a team that's picking in that range, you're like, "What are the Angels doing? Like, are they going to do it again?"
Yeah.
So the current sort of buzz is there's been waves of buzz, which to me means they're leaking stuff and they want stuff to get out there when there's waves of buzz because like you're not supposed to have any buzz. If there's like one level of buzz that ends up being right, you're like, oh, people figured it out. But like when there's waves of buzz, it's like, oh, they're messing with us. So the first buzz was they're taking a college pitcher, and you're like, oh, of course they are. And then it was actually no. Now they're taking a hitter. Like there's like college hitters is what is like most available at their pick. So like that would be them taking what is being given to them. And now the buzz is they want to mix in a hitter or two. I've been told specifically they want to take a couple hitters this year. They'll mix in a couple college hitters. They largely want to take college pitching, and with their first pick, they like the high school pitching class. They want to take a high school pitcher with the first pick. And there's a chance they may take the first pitcher off the board, high school or college. So I think once you, again, getting to that like 7 through 10 area where I think some screwy stuff may happen, I think that's where you'll see the first pitcher come off because I think teams that are like, we'd like 7 players. They went 1 through 7. We're picking 8. We don't like what we're looking at. Going under slot and taking the top pitcher on your board, like seems like a pretty good option. Like, hey, we got the first pitcher and we think he'll go, straight to high A or something. He'll be close. We'll give him his pitching depth. We can trade him. Like all these sorts of options. Whereas, taking a high school hitter, it's like he's not even going to low A until next year. Like it's just, it's the 9th hitter off the board, that kind of thing. But yeah, to answer your question, sorry, I got off track there. They're gonna take a lot more pitch. I would guess with 20, or I guess they have a couple fewer picks, but let's say that 18 picks, I think. I would bet the over under is 16 and a half pitchers.
Oh my god!
Get out of here!
Or maybe 15 and a half. I would bet on like 2 or 3 position players.
Oh my god!
I can't wait to read the articles in 7 years when none of them pan out.
Yeah, right. Now on that,
kind of decent on the guys they took this past year.
Okay.
Like the first 2 guys have been fine. I didn't love Bachman, but for what he was, quick movie, he's in Double A already. Kai Bush, the second one, pretty good. Seth, however you say that, already in the big leagues.
Yeah.
A couple of I liked Brett Carey out of South Carolina. I thought he was underrated. Didn't understand why he was going later. He has good numbers. A couple of the other guys have like good numbers at appropriate levels. So I'm like, all right, they might just think they have good pitching development. And they just want to take pitchers, and they're like, kind of waiting to see how the hitting development is, though. Because like if we're trying to be realistic, if you're good at one thing and not good at another, let's say pitching and hitting are the 2 things. You're good at pitching, you're not good at developing hitting. Just take a bunch of pitchers and trade them for hitters. Like, don't try to complicate it and be good at everything. So like them having a point of view, I want to like be defensive of, because I think that's what they're supposed to be doing. It's just kind of funny that it was 20 pitchers in a row, because like that makes it seem like they don't have a point of view. They're just taking pitchers. When like, the Guardians do it, it's like, oh, they've got a real point of view. They got a thing. It's like, no, they just look like 17 pitchers. It's not that much better.
Right. Oh, so I guess the last question I have is, you were just talking about, hey, this guy's undervalued. I thought he was doing really well, and he went really late in this. Is there someone that you think that everyone should be paying more attention to right now?
Yeah, so last year my guy was Tyler Black, second baseman out of Wright State. I thought he had, I won't bore you all the details, but he had like 3 or 4 indicators of he's going to be underrated and he's going to develop well. He's going to,
Wait, Boris with the details.
Yes, Scott, please.
This isn't Cleveland radio. Boris with the details.
So he didn't have the cape. And he's mid-major Wright State. He didn't have the cape, so he didn't have that narrative where he can have a huge cape starting the comp round and then work his way up.
No cape.
20 on draft day, Canadian, hockey player, great contact and pitch selection all 3 years at Wright State. I had watched him, and his swing is one of those where like he hits the ball, but it's all like line drives and ground balls the other way. But then in BP, he pulls home runs. I'm like, oh, it's just an adjustment in game to get to that in games. And if you go, I think those are the 6 things. So yeah, 6 things. Most guys don't have 6 things. He's also like an average runner to play second base. So there's some defensive value too. So I was like, all right, this guy, if he had like the full runway, played in the SEC, all that kind of stuff, he'd go where Justin Foscue went. All those guys went like 10 to 15. So I ranked him like 14th on my board. I think he went like 30th. And go look up his numbers, look up a couple videos. His swing finish is still a little awkward, and it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but he's in like high A, and he's like hitting the ball. And so if they redid the draft, he probably would go about 15. So I felt really good about that one. And I thought it was a one-off. Like, those are some things I specifically like. There's not a guy like that this year. And then I realized the guys I like this year, also smaller, also generally left-handed, also generally college hitters. So I was like, all right, maybe I just have a type now that I am going for like the little grinder guy that doesn't win the workout but is the best player. And so if you've been following college baseball, that's Drew Gilbert at Tennessee. I've got him ranked 11th. I don't think there's any chance he goes in the top 15. I think it's ridiculous. The other 2 guys that are so similar to him that I felt like I had to also move them up is Zach Neto, shortstop out of Campbell, and Jet Williams, J-E-T-T, Jet Williams. High school shortstop.
That's a name.
That's a name.
Good. I can't do anything with it right now. I have a tweet. There's a tweet thread of like 60 videos I put up this year. Like, as I saw a guy and liked him, I put a video up. His video is notable because he is 5'8" and lifts every ball in batting practice, lifted every ball in the game, and during pregame was wearing cutoffs and pit viper glasses and a mohawk, and he looks like Kenny Powers.
Yes. Yes. And Jet is his name. Oh my god!
Oh, that's so good. He needs to go to New York.
I'm like, this guy should play at Mississippi State because like he's got the right vibe. And so I've just been emailing with all the producers about our breakdown packages. So like when someone gets picked, this is the 30, 45 seconds that goes up when they get picked. And I said, I don't know how we need to do this, but we need to get to that sleeveless shirt part. 12, 13. Let's get to the like borderline shirtless BP and then the borderline shirtless ground balls, because this is what the people need. Because like it's the 14th pick. It's a high school player. He's 5'8". People are losing focus. My parents aren't looking. They're going to the bathroom. I was like, give him Jet. Jet will bring him back.
Yeah.
And then I'll start doing Windhorst. I'll do long pauses. I'll do a Stephen A. And then the other 2 guys, Drew Gilbert, is essentially like a clone of like Adam Eaton or Brett Gardner. the heart and soul of Tennessee. Got better at essentially everything at the plate this year, but he's a little dude. Zach Neto, again, go on Twitter, look up his swing. It looks like a hilarious beer league softball swing, and he had like above average contact rates in college and on the Cape. And he plays shortstop, and he's a plus runner with a plus arm. Throws 95 on the mound. And he's just a late bloomer out of South Florida that went to Campbell. And Campbell has, I think they're going to have like 5 straight years of a guy going in the top 2 rounds. They just get dudes.
Oh, wow.
And so all 3 of those. Oh, and then the last thing about Zach Neto with the funny swing, he's like probably 5'10", 170. So it's like, yeah, imagine Dustin Pedroia with like the swing of a beer league guy. And he like,
amazing.
And you're like, and he's a plus runner. And I'm just like, holy cow, like this. The short version of this, the reason I've landed on this is if somebody can get on the top half of my draft board and has almost none of the characteristics that I've been taught to look for, I think of it like natural selection. I'm supposed to be looking for a 6'4" shortstop that looks like Bobby Witt Jr. or Carlos Correa. None of those 3 guys look anything like that at all. They look like the bat boy. And they're in the mix to be like 11th or 12th on my board. To me, that means they are more fit natural selection-wise to make adjustments, surprise me, do stuff I can't imagine, beat my expectations. And then the guy that is exactly what I'm looking for is probably partly up there because he looks like exactly what I'm looking for, not because he is those things. So I've taken like a 30,000-foot view on the draft process of just like, there's 2 or 3 things college position player needs to be good at. Is he good at them? Yeah. All right. Well, then let's not like complicate it and like try to get like lost in the sauce looking at exit velos and all that kind of stuff. Like, let's take a step back because I don't want to look back on this class and be like, why did I miss the guy that was so obviously the best player on the best team in the country, which is what Drew Gilbert is. So that's an extremely long-winded answer of who to be excited about in the draft.
I can't wait. It was great.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were looking to hear, Kylie. I referred to you as inimitable for a reason, peerless as well. It has been so kind of you to hop on our little podcast here so last minute and be able to break down this draft for us. Thank you so much for your time. Tell us before you head off where we can find you on draft day and where we should be tuning in.
Yes. So draft day, 7:00 Eastern, ESPN for the first round. Second round, I think, is going to be digital only. I'm not positive on that, but it's something like that. And it'll be, me, Jeff Passan, Eduardo Perez, Carl Ravitch, Kyle Peterson, Chris Burke, Jess Mendoza. We're all up there. I've been working on these breakdown packages. I've got video comparing 16-year-old Fernando Tatis Jr. with video I took of him with 16-year-old Drew Jones. We're going very deep, but also we're getting you all the Jet Williams stuff you need. And ESPN.com/MLB for all my latest mock drafts, rankings, team profiles, all that stuff. And then, of course, future value.
Future value.
Gotta get it.
Gotta get it.
Thank you so much for being here, Kylie.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I don't know if this works for like the non-video podcast, but I think people get that I'm holding a book right
now. We absolutely do. Best of luck on draft day, man.
Yeah, man. Take care,
guys.
Yep. That was great.
That was so good. Oh my God, what a guy!
Awesome.
He's incredible.
He's the man.
Oh,
he's absolutely the man.
Yeah, he just kind of was like, all right, yeah, let's just jump on this podcast. Let's talk about all the things. I mean, I didn't know any of those guys. You know me. I'm like, I struggle to keep up with the minors, let alone high school and college guys. So I can't wait for Jet. Benny the Jet. I want him to be a New York Jet because I just want people to shout Jet. Jet as much as possible.
Jet.
Yeah, you gotta got the extra T, of course. I'm sorry. But before we continue with the rest of this podcast, we got to take a quick break. And we're back. What a break that was. I had such a good break. And speaking of breaks, well, we got the All-Star break coming up with some All-Star discussion. And who better fast to join us for such a discussion of just a celebration of the league than Crazy Crab?
No, you did not. Are you serious?
This was sent in by a viewer. This was a viewer sent this to me fast. Isn't this the most amazing thing ever? I'm holding, everyone listening, an action figure of Crazy Crab right now. And I don't even want to take it out of the packaging.
No,
it's just so perfect. Isn't this incredible fast? Look at this. It looks even nicer than it did in the photo, which is very much the reverse of a normal action figure. This is the nice looking version.
That is like unbelievable. Like, I don't know who, if you're listening, the person who sent that in, you have made our nights. Even
you really have.
That is absolutely unbelievable. unbelievable to see. That is so fantastic. Thank you
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's
I couldn't believe
treasure.
it, Fast. I legitimately could not believe what I was holding in my hand. It made me
That's
so
amazing.
happy, and it still
That is
does, and it
amazing.
will always live right there.
Right there.
Crazy Crab is with us.
Oh my God. Crazy
I
crab.
just got to get Kyle Farnsworth now back here too. But all right, let's go to the All-Star break. Fast, who do you think was the biggest All-Star snub?
I think there was I was trying to find the tweet that brought this up, and I apologize to the person who tweeted it. I can't remember, and I can't find it right now, so I apologize. Someone did a really wonderful graph comparing Nestor Cortez, All-Star, Paul Blackburn, All-Star, and Dylan Cease,
Yeah.
non-All-Star. And the numbers are absolutely insane. I mean, Dylan Cease beat both of those pitchers in virtually every single category. And there are plenty, fine, I can understand the argument that Nestor Cortez, based on his first half, should be an all-star. Paul Blackburn, maybe you can make the case. I think we might be getting burned a little bit by the fact that every team is required to have at least one
But why is
representative
it
there.
not Frankie Montas? I couldn't find out why it wasn't Frankie Montas.
Maybe it was because of the injury? No, but then they still
Yeah,
get him.
I don't. That's what blows my mind the most about the whole Paul Blackburn thing. That should be Frankie Montas. I'm sure I'm missing something. But
No,
Paul Blackburn, I mean, it was fine. It was good, 3.36 ERA, I believe, and like a 120 WHIP. But like, really?
This might be the fantastic Sarah Langs who might need to be put on this, but I would love to know the list of pitchers over 80 innings or over 70 innings, whatever the threshold is, who have had a 2.45 or a sub 2.5 ERA and not been an all-star. That because I guarantee you that list is one hand.
It's very small. Well, it's funny that you're saying exactly that because my biggest snub has a 2.46 ERA and a 105 WHIP and a 27% K rate across 95 innings in the National League, and that's Zach Wheeler. And I understand that Zach Wheeler had a slow start. You know, his first 3 outings, 12 earned runs. Pretty insane what he's been doing since. If you want to talk about runs with, say, Nestor Cortez, I mean, 153 ERA, 0.96 WHIP, 29% K rate across his last 82 innings. Absolute absurdity from Zach Wheeler. He is an absolute stud. He should be arguably, you know, after Shane McClanahan, right inside the All-Star game. And he's snubbed, and not even initially. Now Carlos Rodon goes above him, which is also was good, but it's not Zach Wheeler to me. Absolutely shocking. For me, I mean, he's 5th on my list for a reason. It's not because I think he's going to be better. He is an absolute ace. That's my biggest snub. I think Dylan Cease was off of it because of I believe it's a 123 WHIP right now, something like that, as a lot of base runners. But I mean, he still deserves it. I mean, it's always like this every year. There are always a couple guys. It's just you didn't have enough spots.
The chat is going, saying Carlos Rodon, technically he is an all-star. I mean, he is going to be in the all-star game. He was listed as a replacement today. Definitely agree that he's another good name to mention as someone who should have just been in outright. Another really good one there. All right, Nick, I didn't even see this one.
Yeah, I know you didn't.
This home run derby. Run derby, obviously.
This home run derby that I hinted at to all the listeners that we were going to talk about. Yeah, you still were like, oh, yeah, we're totally going to. Oh, I didn't see where we're going to talk about it. Who's going to win it, Fast? And I have my pick, and that's Kyle Schwarber. He made it to the finals in 2018, has 28 home runs this year. And most importantly to me, he's going through his hot streak now. He has been on fire and going straight into the All-Star break with this. Home run derby's on Monday, so it's pretty much no gap for him. I think Schwarber's got something to prove here. He made it to the finals before. Pete Alonso's like, I'm Pete Alonso. I'm going to win it all. I'm spinning the necklace. I'm Pete Alonso. You know, he's done for 2 years. He's got to be put in his place. And Kyle Schwarber's like, today's my day. He's going to do it right.
So we have, 5 contestants so far, right?
Yes. We got Acuna, Soto. I believe Ohtani's in it again. And Alonso. Maybe not Ohtani. No Ohtani. No Ohtani. I don't remember who the 5th is.
Alonso, Schwarber, and Pujols.
Oh, Pujols is in it too. I mean, I know who you're going to pick.
Well, I would like to.
You're going to do it.
Oh no, I can guarantee you it's going to be Alonso again. I feel like I would put a good sum of money that Alonso is going to win it. Again, I think he's going to be the only one who genuinely
Okay, so
cares.
how about this? How about this? Can we do a some sort of wager that I say not Alonso and you say Alonso?
Before we do it, I'd like
That
to
we
know who the
do
other
on
three
this?
contestants are, because
Well,
I
you're saying
consider
that is okay. You're saying of the current ones, it's so obviously Alonso.
of the current ones. I mean, like if we need a Dodger representative, right?
Do we?
So yeah,
Oh,
I
for
believe.
LA, for the Dodgers. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's I doubt it would be Freeman. Will Smith would be very interesting. Um, I don't know if Bellinger would be interested in
Mm.
doing that. I doubt Betts or Turner would do it.
Chris
Maybe
Taylor.
I know because he's injured, right?
Oh, is he? Oh man,
I think
hitters.
so. Yeah, he just got put on the 10-day IL with a fractured foot.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
So I don't know. I would be curious. That's interesting. Chad is saying Freeman and Smith said they would do it if they were all stars.
Mm,
If Freeman did it, he might be able to give Alonso a run for his money. Alonso seems like he's so incredibly competitive, and all the other guys are like, I
right.
don't care. I will say
So,
this:
yeah.
Acuna and who's the other one? Acuna
Soto.
and no, there's another one who's on my current fantasy team. Oh, Alonso. Duh. I don't.
What is this segment, Fest?
I don't.
What is this?
I hope they get out. In the
Is this how I sound often to you? Is this it?
Sorry.
Am I experiencing it?
I'm sorry. I'm like fully like Kristen gave me this bad cold. I'm like dying over here. I'm just a mess. I'm just like a pure mess. Also, we're 3 outs away from the Orioles being 500. So like I'm just a mess right now.
So did you
My
have a
guy's
point?
Alonso.
Yeah. Your guy's Alonso, I know.
Yeah, but my point
Okay.
was I hope they don't do well because I don't want them getting hurt and ruining my fantasy team.
I see. All right. So we're going to do some sort of wager and for next week. And I think what's a good one is we say the other person's team is the best team in baseball next week. If
You just did it.
Alonso No, I did not. I said that congrats on your mediocrity. So, next week, if Alonso wins home run derby, I will say that the Orioles are better than the Yankees. And then if Alonso loses, you will say without a tongue in cheek, without any tone to your voice suggesting otherwise, that the Yankees are so obviously the better team than Baltimore.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I know, because I mean we all know the absolute truth. For me, it's like yeah. But I want you to worship. I want a worship of the Yankees.
No, that won't happen.
That won't happen.
No,
but I mean,
my aunt got a gift for Zelda that's Red Sox socks, and I said I don't want that.
Yeah, I got that in a Secret Santa once. Someone just sent me Red Sox. I was like, "Is this the whole gift?" I was like, "Oh no, okay." But they were just joking because they saw I was a Yankee fan, and I thought that was pretty cute. Anyway, we're gonna go on to our next segment, which is the pitch of the week, and I think I have an interesting one here, that is going a little bit under the radar because this pitcher hasn't really performed that well. Just actually left his last start with a blister, and that's Daniel Lynch, someone that you interviewed back in the day. And his slider, you might not believe this. His slider has a 20% swing strike rate this year, 45% O swing, 45% zone rate, a 71% strike rate, and about a 200 batting average allowed across 33% usage. In fact, he had 12 of 33 whiffs against the Athletics just a few starts ago, allowed him to have 10 strikeouts in just 5 innings. I love this pitch, and I think when we imagine Daniel Lynch on this Royals squad, we think, oh, he's someone who really doesn't have it. He's not there. Sure, he can maybe have these moments, but that's it. This pitch has been consistently excellent for him. It's just about the other tools around it. And it's important for us to know those really good pitches because it does then open the door for excellence if he does get the other tools in place. So I'm excited by Daniel Lynch's slider this year.
I would be if he was on any other team.
Yeah, I know.
I think my pitch of the week is actually going to be A secondary pitch in this gentleman's arsenal, a pitch that we don't focus on as much considering how fantastic his primary pitch is, and that's Spencer Strider's slider.
Oh, okay.
Why? What's wrong?
I'm just messing around with it. Yeah.
Because obviously the fastball is the pitch that gets the most
Yeah.
press. Of course, coming in at 100 miles an hour, the fastest thrown
Right.
strike so far until Jordan Hicks broke it, whatever, a couple of days ago. Although no, that was in relief. Um, his slider so far this month has been fantastic. He's thrown 60. It has a 35% swinging strike rate on it so far this month with a 50% CSW on the month. He's been throwing it very well for strikes. Clearly, he's got a 15% called strike rate on the pitch, so it's not just a pitch that he's going to be able to use to get whips. If he's going to be effective with that two-pitch arsenal, he's going to need the secondary pitch to be as effective as it's being, and it is being super effective right now with a near 40% put away rate in the month of July. So yeah, I that's my pitch of the month. I really dig what he's doing with that slider.
Spencer Strider has the 7th best hard contact allowed in the majors among all starting pitchers, as his slider, I believe, is the best at 8.5%. League average on sliders, by the way, is 23% hard contact allowed, and his is just 8.6%.
Now, what's funny too is
insane.
He actually did not do well tonight at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, he did okay. He had a 25% CSW, but he only got 3 whiffs on the slider. I think he ended up.
Oh, wow.
He didn't even get out of the 5th. He went 4 2/3. I think he gave up 3 earned runs. He still got 8 Ks.
8 strikeouts in 4.2 innings, though, which is pretty insane when you think about it. It's just 11 outs. He had 11 outs, and 8 of them were way of the K. But he needed 103 pitches. Seems like, just from quickly looking at this against the Mets, that Strider's strike rate was probably lower than you'd want it to be, but we'll find out later. Read the SB Roundup, of course. I'll tell you what to think. But I like that pick. And Fast, guess what? It's my favorite segment of the show. Yes, you know it. It is Wild Thoughts.
Oh, no.
Your excitement every time is what really just gets it going. You never want Wild Thoughts, do you?
I have no more. I have no more.
Oh, come on.
I had none.
That's it.
I got none. I even thought about it today. I got no more Wild Thoughts.
You have no more Wild Thoughts? Oh, okay, fine. All right. Wild thought for me today. Hey, what's up? I've always dreamed. I always thought it'd be very interesting if there was a way that I'm not saying like this is a rule change, right? This is legitimately just a wild thought. Let's say it's like 3-2, bases loaded. The outcome of this pitch, regardless, changes the game, right? If it's a wild pitch, doesn't matter. It's ball 4 or something like that. When the pitch is thrown, that I know that it's not allowed, the catcher has to stay in the box. But I've always just imagined, what if the first baseman came in and was in catcher's gear and just stood right in front, timed it so that when the ball came past him, he stood in the way, so that even if contact were made, it would just hit into the dude. He would just essentially body the ball and prevent it from going far. Do you know what I mean?
No, not quite.
Imagine a guy in goalie gear,
okay,
essentially timing when the fastball goes by so that he goes in front of the plate. So when the guy swings, the ball hits into a wall, essentially.
Nick,
I know, it's called Wild Thoughts for a reason. Fast,
Nick, we're going deep.
Well, I've thought about this. I've thought about this since I was 6.
Okay,
I'm why doesn't the catcher in all of his gear just go out in front of home plate and be I'm going to catch the ball right away? No, you have to stay inside the catcher's box essentially until the pitch is either made contact with or goes past.
But
the plate.
You're suggesting that he should just get hit with a bat.
I'm saying no. I'm saying one of the other fielders is dressed like a hockey goalie, and then they make a wall around the delivery of the right in front of the plate so that the ball hits the player instead of going over the wall or something like that.
I'm gonna reel us back in a little bit. It's not a wild thought per se, but it's because just my feeble brain has a very difficult time distinguishing wild thoughts and our thing of the week, and that's on me. That's my fault. But I'm saying what we should do is the bonus ball that you get in home run derby, right? You know how
Uh-huh.
you have like a little bonus round?
Yeah,
Should
yeah.
all be with metal bats.
Okay, see? That's cool. That's cool with
That
me. I
would be
mean, it's
awesome.
not yeah, yeah, that's not as wild. I think we got the different extremes of wild thoughts today. All right, you
Well,
know?
yeah, yeah.
I'm
Well
I'm
said.
here for the
Well said.
zany uncle with, like, glasses that spin like they're hypnotizing you, you know? Fast is just like, "What? How can I trouble you, son? Like, what do you
Yeah,
need?"
exactly.
Like, closing his book, "Oh, fine,
I was just gonna say that. Must I put
uh,
my book down?
yeah. Give him a metal bat, sure."
Yeah, 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 exactly.
What if they use,
That
like,
is
the
very funny.
plastic ones with the giant barrel?
Oh, okay, great. So there we go. Yes.
Yeah, there's a
Uh,
little bit more kookiness, huh? You gotta
there we
stir the
go.
pot.
The swing off has to be with those Fisher Price plastic bats.
Right, and you get, like, the rubber cement balls or whatever, you
You
know?
would blast a hole in it. There would be no way that bat would
No, that's what I'm saying, you
explode.
can't use a baseball, you gotta use, like, the we used to call them suicide balls, but that was the game of, like, you throw it against the wall. I don't know if you know that. I realize now in retrospect that, wow, we called it that? Okay, I don't wanna
That's
call it that
funny.
anymore. Um,
Uh,
but anyway, cool. That was Wild Thoughts. Ta-da! We're moving on. We have some fun images of the week. And Fast, why don't you just show yours first here? What are we going to be looking at here?
so this happened earlier on today, Tuesday, where Tony La Russa pulled out more of his magic. How he still has a job, I do not know. Where he decided after Jose Ramirez fouled off a first pitch that he was just going to walk him. He was just going to give him a free base. And what kind of cracks me up about this? What do you think made this image so funny to me?
The reaction. I mean, like, look at everybody just going, what?
It wasn't the reaction, but it's close to the reaction. It's a sign behind the reaction that indicates what everyone's thinking.
Hmm.
Hmm. It's
Oh,
just
that's perfect.
everyone going,
And
okay.
they're blocking out the letters. It looks like it's ohm or
Well, the
something like
letter,
that. I
the
don't
no,
know. Or UHM.
the letters are which is even better. But I couldn't get
Yeah,
a photo
right.
with the
Yeah.
UHM. But like, it just kind of cracked me up that everyone was like, okay, okay, yeah. So again, he is behind in the count. No, still okay. Oh, all right, that's fine. We'll walk him. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those cases where LaRussa, I don't think, understood the situation, and then pitch happened, go, "Oh my god. Yeah, okay, get him on first." Like, "But no, wait, but it's 0-1 now. It's
Mm.
0-1." You know, he was just too slow on it. And all right, whatever. A good choice, Fast. Mine, I love this. Look at everyone here. We've got Rodon a foot up in the air. We see his hardest pitched ball of the entire night in 99.1 miles per hour. It's 99. We see the batter losing his helmet and just a perfect showcase of what the Padres just went through for 9 innings. And what we're looking at is Carlos Rodon throwing the final pitch of his complete game against the Padres, in which he struck out 12 batters and he threw his hardest pitch of the night with this final pitch here, 99.1 miles per hour. I just love this. Look at this emotion.
It
I
is
mean,
great.
this is a jump of pride and success. This is what power looks like, children.
Yeah,
This
it
is
is
that.
really impressive. Some say he never came back down.
Never came back down. Absolutely not. Oh man, we're running out of time. Oh my
Oh,
lord.
but
We only have
we're at my arguably my favorite segment of the week, which is
oh
who is going to win the World Series. And for those who might be listening for the first time, the way that we do it is we can only say one team once. It's always a little bit tongue in cheek. It's more about who has been having success this past week. The teams that we've done so far, the Marlins, the Orioles, so we can't say them with their win streak. The Brewers, the Mets, the Guardians, the Braves, the Mariners, another team we burned. We can't say their win streak. And I went with Houston last week. So, Nick, it's your turn. Which team is going to win the World Series?
I mean, I think I need to do this because you're going to steal them from me, and it's
Hmm,
not fair. So it's about dang time we said that the Yankees are going to win the World Series.
sure.
You know, I mean, let's just not be around the bush anymore, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They have the second highest, the third highest chance on Ross Fangraphs to win the World Series right now, 13.6% behind the Dodgers and the Astros. They have the most wins in the majors. They have a 71% winning percentage with 61 wins, which is absolutely insane. Their pitching war is second only to Atlanta for the starters. And as far as the relievers go, they're also insane, 4.5 to 4.7 with Atlanta. Their hitting is incredible. Yeah, they're really good, and they have everything you need. They also even fixed their one issue that everyone always talks about. It's like, oh man, their closer isn't doing well. Oh no, Aroldis Chapman. Okay, here's Clay Holmes, otherwise known as the Adobe, because it's Clay Holmes.
Yes.
And they're just so good. They've run away with what we call the toughest division in the majors. Yet they have a 100% chance to make the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Where there are 16 games up on the Blue Jays, who are going to win the wild card. 16 games. Oh my. That is absolutely crazy. So yeah, the Yankees are going to win the World Series fast. It's pretty obvious.
It's tough to argue. It's really tough to argue. I mean, I'm curious to see if Benintendi ends up at Yankee at the All-Star break. I think it'd be a good fit. But yeah, it's anything can happen in the playoffs. It's the only reason why it's like, yeah, just give that World Series to the Yankees. We said the same thing about the Dodgers last year, especially after they acquired Scherzer, and any team can get hot. But that potential Houston, New York ALCS, which I think might be the biggest rivalry in baseball right now, would be a lot of fun.
Oh man, it might be. Yeah, I really want it to be Red Sox and Yankees though. Those are the days. Those were the days.
I don't think it matters anymore. I don't think anyone cares about it anymore.
Yeah, it's because you want more brawls, and that was 2 episodes ago. So definitely go listen to Welcome to the Base Brawl Show. All right, Fast. So before we close off today, we have 2 things that we always do, and this was the stats I listed at the top of the show. 83 innings, 381 ERA, 82.2, I should say, innings, 109 WHIP, etc. Who do you think this is, Fast?
This is okay. I don't. Give me.
This is a tough one.
Give me the division. Give me the division.
Likely. Well, I'll say this. Likely on a playoff team in the American League. Very likely a playoff team in the American League.
Go back to the graphic for me.
Yeah.
Likely on a playoff team in the American League. Okay, so in the American League, likely on a playoff team. So it's probably in the East.
Outside of my top 30.
Outside of your top 30, but probably in the East.
Did not say that, but that's you. Maybe you're right.
I would say, I'll guess and say Stripling.
Not Ross Stripling. No, he is in the AL West.
He's in the AL West.
Yes.
Okay. So then I'll say, well, Kirby was sent down. Logan Gilbert.
Nope. This is Luis Garcia.
Wow.
Yeah, right. I don't 109 whip, 26% K rate, 381 ERA, 15% swing strike rate, 13th highest in the majors among starting pitchers. So that's Luis Garcia. Enjoy that one. What are you hyped about this week? What is it, Fast? What is it?
Come on, baby.
I know what you are, but just say it to everybody.
2 outs away. 2 outs away.
You've been 2 outs away for like the whole episode.
No, we were 3 outs away before. There was it was the top of the 8th. There was a long top of the 8th. We ended it with bases loaded. It's 4-2. Jorge Lopez is in. He's about to throw a 1-2 pitch. There's 1 out to Patrick Wisdom. He did. It's a ball. But I am. It feels like my Christmas. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It feels like, oh my god, the last time the Orioles were 500 in July. Come on, and then he strikes him out. Let's friggin' go. So that's what I'm looking forward to. What are you looking forward to?
1 out left now. Is that right? 1 more to go.
1 out left, baby.
1 out. Okay. It could happen if I stall long enough. I mean, there are a lot of things that I could be hyped about. And guys, just so you know, we are not going to have an episode next week. It's going to be in 2 weeks, which means that the MLB draft will be behind us. And that means I'm looking forward to that draft and actually hearing about these names that Kylie McDaniel mentioned at the top of the show. I mean, I think it's something that I've grown to enjoy more than I did in the past as the MLB draft. A lot of guys do shoot up pretty quickly into the majors. And this big quick turnaround. I remember the Angels getting Reed Detmers, and all of a sudden, hey, there's Reed Detmers at the end of the following year. Jeter Downs, I remember when he got drafted by the Red Sox, for example. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing new faces and understanding these new, players that will affect the league for years to come. So that is always a great time. But that's going to do it, as Jorge Lopez has not gotten the final out yet. Thank you all so much. 0-2 count. Thank you all so much for tuning for yet another episode of the Nick and Alex Baseball Show and watching it on twitch.tv/pitcherlist live every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And of course on Twitter as well. And he struck him out. Look at me stalling away. Thanks to all the iTunes Apple Podcast ratings and reviews. But that's it. So my name is Nick Pollack.
I'm Alex Fast. We'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks.
See ya.